Hey everyone, today we're jumping into Waco ISD's big plan for the future. It's called the District Improvement Plan, and it's basically their blueprint for what they want to achieve in the 2025 to 2026 school year. So let's dive in. So, what's this blueprint all about? What's the real plan to move Waco schools forward? And, we're not just talking about some document full of numbers. This is a real hands on strategy that's designed to touch every single student, every teacher, and every family in the district. Okay, if you boil this whole thing down to one single goal, this is it. The big objective is to lift the district's accountability rating from a D all the way up to a C. It's super clear, it's measurable, and pretty much every single thing we're about to talk about is aimed at making that happen. But a goal like that doesn't just come out of nowhere. To really get how they're going to get there, we first need to understand the why. And that all starts with the core vision that's driving this entire effort. And here it is right on the screen. The mission is to cultivate wisdom, and you'll notice that's wisdom with a capital D, inspire growth, and pursue excellence. Now, these might sound like lofty goals, but they're not just buzzwords. Think of them as the North Star for every single decision they're making. So, the big question is, how do you actually make a mission like that happen? Well, you need a solid plan, a real structure. And that's what the district has done. They've broken down this big vision into a really clear 4-part plan. Let's see what that looks like. So the whole strategy is built on these 4 pillars: students, staff, community, and, of course, making sure the money and operations are efficient. And what's really important to see here is that it's not just about academics. It's about the whole picture. It's this idea that you can't have student success without supported teachers, an engaged community, and things running smoothly behind the scenes. They all have to work together.
Okay, now we're getting to the real heart of it all: student success. This is where the plan stops being about big ideas and gets down to specific, measurable goals for what happens inside the classroom.
First on the list is reading. Right now, about 32% of students are meeting grade level standards. The goal? To bump that up to 36% by May of 2026. It's a solid, focused push to improve a skill that's, foundational to everything else. And it's pretty much the same story for math. The plan is to take the number of students meeting grade level standards from 21% up to 25%. Again, it's another clear, data-driven target for super important core subject. All right, now this next one, this is where the plan gets really ambitious. We're talking about college, career, and military readiness. The goal here is a huge jump from 62% of graduating seniors all the way up to 74%. I mean, that is a massive leap. They're aiming to get nearly 3 out of every 4 graduates ready for whatever comes next. So you're going to hear this acronym CCMR a lot. It stands for College, Career, or Military Readiness. And it's not just some feel-good term. It's an actual state measurement that says a student has done specific things, like passing advanced courses or getting certain test scores that prove they're actually prepared for what comes after high school. So how in the world are they going to make that giant CCMR jump? Well, this chart shows you it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. The key is recognizing there are a ton of different ways to be ready. The plan is to boost the numbers everywhere, from getting industry certifications, which you can see is the biggest piece of the pie at over 40%, to kids succeeding in AP and dual credit classes. Okay, so let's pull all that together. We're looking at a steady 4-point bump in both reading and math. But the real game changer here is that huge 12-point jump in college and career readiness. These are the numbers that are really going to define whether this plan is a success. Of course, students can't hit those kinds of goals all on their own. Success really depends on having a strong foundation. And that brings us to the other super important parts of this plan: the people, the partners, and the resources that make it all possible. And a huge piece of that foundation is the staff. The plan isn't just about keeping teachers, though that's important. They want to nudge retention up from 92 to 93%. It's also about boosting morale in a big way, from a 68% favorable rating up to 75%. Because let's be honest, happy and supported teachers are effective teachers. It's that simple. And what about the community connection? Well, check out this number. The district has set a goal of hitting 99% parent engagement through their Parent Square communication tool. That's a really powerful statement that they want every single family to be plugged in and in the loop. And finally, the plan gets down to the actual buildings. This is about making sure that operational efficiency isn't just some boring line on a budget. It has to translate into real things that matter,
like classrooms having the up-to-date technology students need, and making sure schools are clean, safe, and welcoming places to be.
All right, so a plan looks great on paper, but it's only as good as its execution, right? So let's look at the final piece of the puzzle. How is this blueprint actually being put into action as we speak?
Probably the most important thing to get here is that this is not just some plan that's sitting on a shelf somewhere collecting dust. Nope. The work to make this happen has already begun. And you know what? We're already seeing some early signs that it's working. That new reading and math training for all the teachers, it's happening right now. District-wide attendance, it's already tracking over 2% higher than it was last year. And this is critical for that big readiness goal. Every single high schooler's path to graduation is now being tracked every quarter to make sure they stay on course.
When you look at it, all of this data, all these different strategies, they all circle back to this one powerful idea from the district's own values, making sure that students are empowered, equipped, and totally ready to lead with that special Waco ISD wisdom, wonder, and confidence. And that really leaves us with the final and maybe most important question of all. This plan is the blueprint, for sure, but making it a reality, that's going to take everyone. So how will the community, parents, local businesses, all of us, come together to help cultivate that wisdom and pursue excellence for every single student? The work is started, and the next chapter is being written as we speak.